I mean, I would say that with human intelligence, it's in some ways easier for private sector organizations to get access to the data than it is for government organizations. In the United States in particular, our government struggles with collecting the data necessary to be able to bring that human intelligence into decision making. In the private sector, there's a lot more flexibility with being able to, whether that's buying data from a third-party data vendor or collecting that information and using that intelligence. But I think the important point is the difference between intelligence and data. So data could be, information about you, where you live, your identification number, your birth date. These are pieces of data, personally identifiable data, and they can tell you some things about fraud, but fraud actors are so good at stealing that information and monetizing it that it can be very difficult to know if that data means that somebody is really a fraud threat or not. Intelligence is information we can glean or gather about you, like where you work, where you lived last, who you are in business with, how many other organizations you've worked for, who your friends are, how you behave in different environments. And we can collect that information through open source intelligence, and we can get a lot more information about risk by using those types of intelligence attributes. But it's very difficult. In the United States, it's very difficult for our government to collect that information. I mean, I think, the internal audit profession and the internal auditors of tomorrow are gonna have to have a really diverse skill set. They're gonna have to be very curious. They're gonna have to be able to quickly come up to speed on these changing, more adaptive threats. They're gonna have to be able to use data. They're gonna have to be able to understand how to interpret data and patterns in data. And they're gonna have to feel, I think, more empowered and more emboldened to have a seat at the table when it comes to influencing how systems are designed, because the internal audit profession of the future is going to have a much more robust role, I believe, in influencing how systems are designed and having more of that enterprise-wide insight that they can bring to the whole organization. And they need to have that level of respect from every level of organization. They need to have that feeling of confidence that they have that role. So I think that's how the profession will probably change. Well, yeah, I'm so grateful for the invitation, and I'm just so impressed with the IMAI and how proactive it's being in bringing together this really diverse set of speakers to come and do these 2 days of really dynamic conversations about fraud and corruption. I think it shows all of the things that I believe are incredibly important to the internal audit profession of the future, which is to be thinking about these adaptive threats, bringing people together to really think about how we can solve tomorrow's problems today.